A sister-sister dispute. We have one sister who's the OP of the story. She's the one that's been paying for her younger sister's lifestyle, enabling her. She doesn't want to work. She's 30 years old, she has a daughter, and she's still struggling monthly because she simply won't work. And then OP decides, I'm not going to be a doormat anymore. I'm going to stand up to my younger sister, and I'm going to tell her this. I'm a 34-year-old female. I have no children, and I don't need to work due to several investments I've made when I was younger. I live a very leisurely life due to the money I've built up. I have a nice home, go on vacations multiple times a year. My sister Jenna is 30, and she's quite the opposite. She's absolutely terrible with money and has no knack for saving. Both of us came from a lower class background, and we were raised by a single father. Our dad had a pretty good job and brought us both up to know the value of money. He had an interest in the stock market and was always regretful that he had not invested in his younger years, so as to retire early and spend more time with us when we were children. Because of this, he was always encouraged us to save most of our money for the future. So most of our birthday money we would be putting into a savings account until we turned 18. Once I turned 18, I took my father's advice and began investing. I worked 2 jobs, lived very frugally. I took the money from my father that we've made me save, and invested that also. I lived with my father through college to save money on living expenses, and I saved a penny everywhere I could. I scrimped and saved throughout my 20s, and did not live life to the extent my peers did, in hopes of being able to retire early. After school, I got a job as a teaching assistant at the local high school. Thanks to all of this, I managed to reach my goal, and I was able to retire at 32. I was really proud of myself and wanted to share the moment with my dad. But unfortunately, he passed away very suddenly when I was 25. My sister was always the rebellious one in the family, and she always tried to do the exact opposite of what Dad wanted. She got pregnant at 15, gave birth when she was 16. Obviously, Dad wasn't overjoyed at the news, but he told her that he'd support her no matter what happened. She didn't want his help, though, and moved to her own place as soon as she reached 18. The baby's dad wanting nothing to do with Jenna or the baby, so she was pretty much on her own. He signed away his parental rights as soon as she gave birth. And, well, last I heard, he ran away to Canada and works in a fancy restaurant up there. Jenna was 21 when Dad died, and while the both of us received a pretty big amount of money in his will, she blew through it in literally about a year. Since then, she's been living paycheck to paycheck and she can barely get by, and even when Dad was alive, she refused to take his money. She did not feel the same way about me, though. I've been paying my sister's bills since she was 18 years old, and I've been providing free childcare since she was 16. Fortunately, her daughter is 16 now and doesn't require a babysitter, but I'm still helping out with their rent most of the months. She does work, but she wasn't able to go to college because of her daughter, so she could not get a job without a degree. She works part-time in a hardware store, and I've tried to convince her to go full-time, now that her daughter's old enough to take care of herself. But I think she's just too lazy and uses childcare as an excuse. A 16-year-old doesn't need so much supervision as a 6-year-old, but somehow my niece needs twice that. I'm pretty sure that if my sister did not rely on me so much, I would have been able to quit working a lot sooner. I think she takes for granted how much I actually do for her, which hurts a lot. Especially when I remember that she just spent all the money Dad left her and then continued to expect me to help her out along the way. I've encouraged her to try to contact my niece's father, and she has, but he always just ignores her, and she blames me for forcing her to put herself out there to get rejected. It feels like I'm her scapegoat whenever something goes wrong. It used to be Dad. Everything was his fault, and she felt like I was on her side. But once he died, it seemed like she thinks I owe her something. I mean, I do love my sister, and I want to take care of her, but the way she takes me for granted simply bothers me. A month ago, my cat had a medical emergency, and because of the veterinarian bill, I did not send her money for her rent, and she blew up on me. She said that I'm being selfish, and that my cat's old anyways to be comfortable, and that I should just put it down. I lost it when she said that, and I told her exactly what I thought of her. Well, we did not speak for a while after that, and I'm still upset with her, but it seems like she's over it. She never directly asked me for the money anymore. She just assumes that I'll send it without being asked. She used to tell me that the money I gave her was just a loan, and that she'd pay me back. At first, I'd tell her not to worry about it and that I was her big sister. It was my job to take care of her. At the time, I thought that I'd meant it, and I think I would have if she had not taken advantage of my offer. Well, she insisted, even then, that she'd pay me back, but after a few months she stopped asking and just expected me to do it. There have been a few times, like last month, where I've been unable to help out, and every time she acts like I owe her the money, and that I'm being a bad sister by not helping. Every time I'd apologize and she'd tell me that I let her down. The past few times she's yelled at me and asked how can I afford to go on a vacation so often if I can't even help my sister out. At this point, I'm simply exhausted. I have a lot of spare cash, but I've worked for it. She spent her 20s partying. I spent mine working my butt off to get exactly where I'm at. And it's not fair to me to not be able to enjoy my life just because she refuses to do work. Another issue that I have is the actual price she pays for rent. Jenna lives in the most expensive neighborhood in the city. She says it's because the schools there are best for her daughter, but I think she just likes the exclusivity. She has taken multiple buses to work every day, and I know it cost her a lot of money. Even I don't live in that area, and I could afford it if I wanted to. I've spoken to some friends, and they all tell me that I'm enabling her, and just allowing her behavior to continue. I mean, I know that they're right, but I can't bring myself to cut her off just like that. I've decided that I won't be transferring her money for her rent automatically this month. If she wants it, she'll have to ask me directly, and I'll be making it clear to her that she has to pay me back. I'm also going to charge her interest. I've done some snooping on the internet, and this is what seems to have worked for most people. I know that she isn't going to be happy, and I'm preparing myself for the worst, but I have to do this. She's never actually lived as an adult. She went from relying on Dad to relying on me, and it's simply not fair. Even my niece has a part-time job. The interest is going to be crazy high. I'm not doing this for the money. I don't financially need her to pay me back. It's just the principle of the thing. I'm doing her a disservice by enabling her behavior. I've been considering moving to an entirely different state for a while now, and I think that it's what caused me to act now. I don't know. I don't want to be supporting her long distance without even seeing what she's doing. I'll update you on how it goes, but I'm not really optimistic. Update number 1. Hey guys, well, it didn't go well. I think it went pretty much exactly how I expected, just with a little more yelling. I usually send her the money on the 5th of every month, but this time I didn't, and I did not contact her with an excuse either. On the 6th, she texted me and asked what was up, without directly asking about the money, and I asked her to meet me for coffee. She seemed mad, but she agreed, and I just ignored her attitude and told her I had something important to tell her. So, it was the 7th when we finally saw each other, and I already knew that she was mad. I got to the cafe first, and when she arrived, she didn't even smile. I'll admit that I was enjoying her anger more than I should have. I felt very righteous, and I don't think I went about it the right way, because I just asked her what was wrong. Obviously, I knew what was wrong, but some annoying part of me wanted her to say the words out loud just so that she could hear what a brat she was being. I feel like a little bit of shame in this, but my anger of her sorts of trumps it. I've never had the room in our relationship to be petty, so it kind of feels like I'm taking back my power. Alas, she was unaware as always, and it just asked me straight up what the heck I hadn't sent her half of the rent for. This part really bothered me because what the heck did she mean about my half? Since when did I live with her? I asked her how it was my half when I didn't even live there, and hadn't since we were kids, and why I should be expected to pay half of her rent when I have my own stuff to worry about. She rolls her eyes at me and said that I've always done it before. I told her that's exactly my point, and that she was taking advantage of me simply. I told her how much it hurt that she did not even bother asking me anymore, and that she just assumed that I'd fund her life when she could not even bother working full-time. At this point, she starts getting mad at me, but she was kind of whisper yelling. This is why I wanted to have the conversation in public, because when my sister gets news that she doesn't like, she starts screaming. And I was hoping she would not do that in front of people. She's always been conscious of her image, so I was banking on her having some sort of discretion. She called me some names and got even more mad when I didn't rise to her goading. She told me that I could have proved my point another way, and that now she'd have to come up with half the rent and late fees because I was having a child's tantrum. I'll admit that she was probably right and that I was being petty by not coming to her directly, but I don't feel any guilt for it. I've had to mother her for the past 9 years since Dad died, and I'm sick of it. The thought of late fees also had not even entered my head, and I'll admit that they gave me pause because it's not like I wanted to cause her any deliberate inconvenience, but I did not let myself dwell on that for very long. I said I wasn't cutting her off and told her that if she really needed money, I'd be happy to lend it to her, under the condition that she paid every cent back plus interest. Well, at that, she got even more mad, though I expected it. This was the part where she starts really yelling. I've been wrong to think she wouldn't cause a scene in public because she was bellowing at the top of her lungs. Everybody was looking at us, and it was pretty early in the day, so it was mostly moms and babies there. She was screaming, "I'm a terrible sister," asking if I was willing to allow her and her daughter to go homeless, because I was so money hungry. She said that I was disgusting for allowing money to come between family, and that I was greedy. She said that there was no point in me being so rich if I wasn't going to bother spending my money, and just keeping it all to myself. I was so embarrassed, I could feel my face going bright red, and I can even look at the other people in the cafe in their eyes. I knew that they were all judging us. The way she was spinning it, I know how it looked, like I was a monster. Normally, when Jenna pitches one of her fits, I back down immediately since I don't like confrontation and I don't like yelling. It gives me hives, and I think she knows that, which is why she always throws a tantrum to get her way. But this time I stayed strong. I waited until she was done yelling and I looked her in the eyes and I told her that she was making a fool out of herself, and that a 30-year-old woman should know better than to act so rudely in public. I said that she's been taking advantage of me ever since Father passed away, and I was not allowing it anymore. I left the money for the coffee on the table and left. I feel sick to my stomach with anxiety, absolutely terrible. I feel like I'm a terrible sister. I feel like I'm letting our dad down by not protecting her, to the best of my ability, to be honest. I need to keep reminding myself that I'm her big sister, not her parents, and even if she does get evicted, it's not my responsibility to take care of her. Worst comes to worst, I'll take my niece in for a few months until Jenna gets her act together. But I won't be helping her directly. I'd be happy to do so, even. The offer of the loan with interest is off the table, though, at this point. I won't be offering any sort of monetary help, no matter what happens. Even if she gets down on her knees and begs with tears in her eyes, I'm done. I'm done allowing her to emotionally manipulate me and blackmail me into doing what she wants. She's a grown woman who needs to work for a living, especially when she spends half her time laying around at home when she could be working more hours. I know that she's jealous that I took Dad's advice, and I'm financially independent, but he gave her the same advice. She's the one who chose not to take it, and that's not my problem to deal with. I worked hard to get where I'm at in life, and she's been cruising on first his, then my generosity. She can kick up a fuss, throw all the tantrums she wants, that's not going to change. See, I say all this, but I still feel guilty deep inside. I know that she needs to learn to stand on her 2 feet, but emotionally, I still feel like I'm letting her down. Like I'm letting Dad down by failing to protect her. I know, people have told me that's not true, and I'm really trying to work through that. It's not like Dad's dying wish was for me to take care of her or something. But it does feel like he sort of left her in my care. She's tried calling multiple times, but I've been ignoring her. She's texted a bunch too, but I'm not opening them. I even get a text from my niece saying that Jenna had forced her to write me a message begging for money. I should be outraged. She's using her daughter to try to appeal to my emotions. But It's not a surprise. I wish I thought more of her, but I don't. Well, anyways, thanks to everybody who upvoted this post. It's you guys who gave me the courage to stand up for myself and finally stop allowing her to treat me this way. I'll update again if anything else happens. Update number 2. Jenna's gone on a bit of a hate campaign about me to our family, it seems. In the last 3 or 4 days, I've received countless texts and emails and missed calls from just about everyone in the family tree. Both maternal and paternal sides seem to have gotten the idea that I'm hoarding my wealth like a dragon on top of gold or something, and crackling at the idea of my sister going bankrupt. All of the messages are pretty much in the same vein of asking why I was forcing my sister into homelessness, and telling me that my parents would be ashamed of who I've become in their absence. I don't even know how to react at this point. I've been ignoring the phone calls, deleting the text messages as soon as they come in, not even bothering to read them. But I know that at some point I'm going to have to put on my big girl pants and just deal with the situation. The only people I've really been able to speak to are my friends. They're super supportive, obviously, but it's a friend's job to have your back, so I worry that they're just telling me what I want to hear. Everybody on here has been amazing too in the comments, really, but with my entire family turning against me, it's making me second guess everything. I do believe that money should not come between families, but it's not even the money that's the issue. I can afford to support Jenna, it's just the entitlement that she has to have my money. She always used to laugh at me when we were in our 20s when I would tell her that I could not go out on vacation with her. She would tell me I'm wasting my youth. Now, I'm finally able to enjoy myself, and the only one reaping the rewards of all that work is her. I used to think that she was genuinely concerned for me and was truly worried that I'd miss out on life if I was always just saving and trying to be as frugal as possible. Now it turns out that she just wanted a vacation buddy, couldn't care less if I enjoyed my life or not. I haven't reached out to her since that day. Honestly, she stopped calling too. It was pretty much right after she stopped calling that the first of the barrage of angry messages from relatives came. This isn't even the first time she's used our family against me in an attempt to get what she wants. When we were kids, she'd always get her way by crying and playing the victim. And I would always just sit back and let it happen because I did not want to come off as mean. Well, this time I'm going to be mean. I'm not going to let her bully or manipulate me into getting her way. My prediction is this, that once she sees that setting our relatives against me doesn't work, she's going to cut her losses and just accept the plea deal. She's going to pretend nothing ever happened and act like paying interest was her idea the whole time. But I'm not going to let that happen. She hasn't called, but the next time she does, I'm going to be open and honest with her. I'm going to tell her that the offer's off the table and that she won't be seeing a cent from me ever again. She'll cry, try to make me feel guilty, but I'm not going for it this time. It sickens me that I even have to do this, but tomorrow I'm going to call my aunt and go on a PR campaign. I'm going to explain everything from my perspective, something I haven't done before. I don't know if it's going to achieve anything like getting them on my side, but at least I'll be able to say that I tried. You know? Well, I'll update soon on how everything plays out. Thanks again for all the support and love. What's up everybody, Mr. Reddito here. So this is a very sticky situation OP has found herself in. Guys, update 3 is about to happen. There's a couple more updates after that. Let's go ahead and jump into update 3. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing if you want more daily stories. And here's your update. Hey everyone, I just wanted to clarify one thing before I got into what's been happening the past few days. I in no way want to turn my family against Jenna. It's never been my plan to win them over to my side and do to her exactly what she's been doing to me. All I want for them is to finally hear from me exactly what's been happening, because I know for sure that Jenna has not been 100% honest. Now that that's out of the way, I'll let you guys know how things have been going. It's been a few days since I've posted the last update, and I've been going crazy busy since then. I feel like a businesswoman or something. I've been having breakfast, lunch, dinner meetings with people every day. The first person I spoke to was my aunt on my mother's side. She's sort of the figurehead of the family, so I knew that she should be the first point of attack. We had breakfast together. I paid. It's sort of an underhanded tactic, but I needed to show them I'm not a cheapskate who always cuts off their broke sister for nothing. So we had breakfast and I explained the situation. I told her about how Jenna had been demanding money for years, going as far as to yell at me when I have an unexpected bill to pay and couldn't help her out that month. I tell her about Jenna's pure refusal to work any more hours than part-time. Honestly, I was just 100% honest with her with zero embellishments. It wasn't my goal to throw Jenna under the bus, just to show everybody that I'm not cold-hearted jerk she's been trying to paint me out to be. Well, my aunt did not really say much throughout the entire meal, but at the end, I got the sense that she believed me. I couldn't stop with her though, not if I wanted to really tackle this thing head first. So I went out with the cousins, uncles, godparents, nieces, family friends. Everyone who I've gotten an angry phone or text message from was on my hit list, and to every single one of them I laid out the facts. As I'd expected, it turns out that Jenna had not been completely honest with everybody about just how much I was helping her out. I actually ended up having to show multiple people my bank statements to prove that I've been sending her thousands of dollars a month, because she had to tell them that I just flat out refused to help with even one payment. Thankfully, they all saw sense once I finally stood up for myself. Multiple family members, even ones I haven't met up with yet, have reached out to me and apologized for judging me. Apparently, word's gotten around through the grapevine that I'm not actually a cold-hearted person. I'm actually mad at myself for not doing this sooner. To be honest, I've spent almost 30 years of my life allowing Jenna to push me around and use me. I always thought it was just my job as the big sister to help her out, sort of guide her the right way in life. But honestly, some people just can't be helped. It's time I finally realized that just because she's my sister, it doesn't mean I have to like her as a person. Don't get me wrong, I love her, and I always will. I'll hold on to our memories together fondly, and I'll never let anybody badmouth her. But I just think that it's time for us to both part ways, before one of us ends up mean and bitter. Part of the reason I've really started putting my foot down on this stuff is that I found myself dreading the days where I had to see her, or when I'd had to share answers or calls. I won't pretend that I'm doing this of some sort of big sister savior complex, trying to show her the error of her ways before it's too late and she alienates everybody. That would just be flat out a lie. It's for completely selfish reasons that I'm finally taking these steps. I think after Dad died, I just took her on as my responsibility. Even though she was already an adult, she's been like a parasite sucking me dry for the better part of 10 years, and I'm finally freeing myself. This probably all sounds super preachy, but I've never really done anything for myself before, so I think I'm just trying to talk myself out of feeling like a bad person. I'm expecting a call from her sooner or later, and I know the worst of her anger is yet to come, once I tell her the interest deal's off the table. So really, I'm just trying to prepare myself for that, and I'm hoping that it won't be as hard on me now, that I know she can't use the family pressure against me. Once again, I'll update you guys when I can. Alright everybody, Mr. Reddito here, so we're about to walk into the final update of the story, update number 4, and this is the end of the thrilling saga. Let's get right into it! Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a week now since I wrote the last update, and it was the day after I got my first phone call from her. As expected, she was trying to play it cool. I can't tell if the nonchalance in her voice was fake or not, but it rubbed me the wrong way no matter what. I hated that she could just call me up and act like nothing ever happened after she's pretty much run a smear campaign against me to our nearest and dearest for the better part of 3 weeks. It seemed almost sociopathic. I've been sent screenshots of the text that she sent to our cousin crying over my refusal to send money. And she'd say many horrible things about me, and even attacked my character, all just to call me up on the breezy. It was despicable. I let her speak first, and just like I thought she would, she brought up the idea of interest, and acted like it was some big ol' light bulb moment for her, and not made my idea from the beginning. She was going on and on about interest rates, and the percentage she was suggesting was far lower than what was fair. But at this point, it didn't surprise me. She talked on and on for about 6 minutes without letting me get a word in. So, she was well into her tangent before I interrupted her and told her that the deal was off the table. My heart was beating so fast, honestly, but I tried to keep my voice even. Either she didn't understand what I was saying or she pretended to not understand, because she just asked me what I meant. I had to repeat myself multiple times before she finally got the message. I told her that I was no longer going to be sending her money, and that I'd rather she stopped contacting me for quite some time. That's when she started turning on the waterworks. I wasn't buying it this time. Though I just hung up, I blocked her number, and now here we are. I never thought that we'd end up at this point, but like I said, here we are. I'm going to keep communication with my niece open. She's wiser to her mom's antics and isn't even mad at me. So I'm just going to keep checking in through her every now and then to make sure Jenna hasn't gone off the rails in retaliation or something. I probably won't be writing any more updates unless something crazy happens. I feel like this saga has pretty much wrapped itself up. I just wanted to give a huge thanks to everybody who upvoted, commented, and all the stuff. I was pretty much at the end of my tether when I wrote the initial post. I had no idea what to even do. So I just want to thank everybody once again who acted as an impartial judge on the case. I've really appreciated all the kind words and advice that you've all given. Alright guys, let's talk about this one. In my opinion, the reason the younger sister was doing this for so long and just so comfortable with throwing tantrums is because she was never used to hearing no. I do believe, even OP said it, she let this go on for far too long, enabling her, being a floor mat to her. So I have one question for you guys. Do you think if she would have stopped this a lot sooner, that her younger sister would have been in a better position today because she would have been like, hey, maybe I should get a full-time job. Maybe I should go back to school since my daughter's older now. She doesn't need as much babysitting. So let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section down below. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you don't know who I am, my name's Mr. Reddito. I read stories every single day, some really dramatic stuff. If you're into that kind of thing, consider subscribing. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic day.